What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Connor with TGN here, and just before we get into this video, I want to say quickly, check out our full channel, the /technology channel. It's www.youtube.com/technology, and you can check out all of our directors. We have a lot of content going up over here, so definitely go ahead and check it out. In addition to that, check out the full show. This is in the iPad 3 show, and you'll get all kinds of updates on the iPad 3 as we get closer to the release. In addition to that, you'll see an iPad 3 review and all kinds of good stuff along those lines as soon as it comes out. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So let's go ahead and kick off this video with the biggest rumor of all, which is going to be the release date of the iPad 3. Now, the release date has been rumored to be all over the place, being February 2012, Q4 2012, or even summer of 2012, which is quite a bit away. So the rumor that has the most backing and the most coverage is actually March of 2012. So that's actually pretty close to now, only being 3 or 4 months away. And I don't really like that release date at all, because a lot of people got the iPad 2 for either Christmas or Hanukkah or the New Year or whatever it may be. A lot of holidays just passed, which means the iPad 2 was probably sold quite a bit for presents or gifts or whatever it is. So that being said, the iPad 3 will be coming out pretty soon, right around the corner, if that release date is true. Now, take that with a grain of salt. It may be further away, but I would say don't buy an iPad 2. If you already have one, maybe think about returning it, maybe not, but definitely take that with a grain of salt, as the iPad 3 could be coming out as early as 3 months from now. So just think about that a little bit before buying an iPad 2. Now, moving on to the exterior of the device, it will hopefully have a Retina display. It is actually rumored to have a better display, not necessarily a Retina display, but the reason and the backing for that is there's actually a picture that you're seeing on screen right now where it has a 3-dock pin connector on the iPad 3 as opposed to the 2-dock pin connector on the iPad 2. So it will definitely have a better display, but we're not sure if it's a Retina display or if it'll just be somewhat better. Now, the resolution of the display should be 2058 by 1536 pixels, so it should be a pretty nice display if they actually end up doing that. Now, the 3-dock pin connector is a pretty big deal, as it does signify that a better display will be on the iPad 3. There's a new Gorilla Glass coming out, which will be featured at CES coming up in a few days here. So the Gorilla Glass 2 is actually rumored to be quite a bit stronger than the previous version, so hopefully that glass will end up making it to the iPad 3. The iPad 3 will have a dual-mode wireless chipset, which just basically means it'll work with AT&T and Verizon networks. Now, in addition to that, it should also have 4G speeds. Now, that doesn't really mean that Apple will call it 4G connectivity or anything like that. They will just most likely announce it as having the speeds of 4G phones as well as 4G tablets. This is exactly what they did with the iPhone 4S, and it just really kind of clears the air with what 4G is and what it isn't. They just want to say that it's faster than it was before, and it really hopefully will support the 4G speeds, as it will have the dual-mode wireless chipsets and should work on both AT&T and Verizon's faster networks, being LTE and the 4G network. It's speculated that the iPad 3 will also have double the battery life of the previous iPad 2, and that being said, the iPad 2 will actually have a price drop down to $399. So for $400 you can actually buy the iPad 2 once the iPad 3 is released. So if you are in the market still for an iPad 2, definitely wait till the iPad 3 comes out, because it will have a significant price drop. Now, Digitime originally announced a statement saying that there will be a smaller version of the iPad 3. That was actually recently deemed false, as there should only be one version of the iPad 3. It doesn't really fit Apple's style to release multiple sizes of a product, as there only is one iPhone, there only is one iPad. There's no multiple sizes, as it does kind of confuse the consumer, and Apple tries to keep it very in the box, not outside the box, just very straightforward and simple for all the consumers. It's also speculated that the iPad 3 will have a front and a rear-facing camera of 8 megapixels, so there will be 2 HD cameras as opposed to the standard 1 HD camera and 1 VGA camera. Now, the reason for that is to increase the quality of FaceTime, although that will depend on your Wi-Fi network or your 3G network and possibly 4G network, depending on if you'll be streaming in that true 8 megapixel quality. Now, it will be hard to stream in 8 megapixel quality, so for them to say that it's going to be for FaceTime, I don't really agree with. I do agree, though, that it will have improved pictures, because 8 megapixels is kind of a lot for a tablet or phone. In addition to that, I expect there will be a 1080p camera, so you will have that 1080p video recording option, hopefully on the iPad 3 as well. Now, something that shocked me, as well as it's probably going to shock you, is instead of a device getting thinner, it's speculated to get thicker. Not very much and probably not noticeable at all, but it should be about 1 millimeter thicker, and that's because they're adding a lot more components, such as the dual mode wireless chip, also the battery life being doubled. There will most likely have to be more room for the battery, which will actually add 1 millimeter supposedly 1mm thicker to the device, which is actually pretty big news. There will also be a new microphone upgrade, which just basically means there will be a much more clear and crisp audio sound when recording a 1080p video or even 720p if there are multiple selection options for your quality. There will also be better quality FaceTime audio, which, like I said earlier, will just depend on the network you're on, but hopefully they will end up having a way where you can always stream in a higher quality audio. This will also help with Skype calls through your iPad or anything like that. When there was an upgrade from the iPad 1 to the iPad 2, there was no change in the microphone, so hopefully with the iPad 3 there will be a much better microphone put in. Not to say that the iPad 2 microphone is bad by any means, but a better microphone will help with any type of recording as well as FaceTime, so that's definitely something big that'll be coming to the iPad. Deep within iOS 5.1 beta software, which is being tested on the iPad 3 right now, there's actually a process called core managing software. Now this leads us to believe that there will be 4 cores on the iPad 3, being that the iPad 2 had 2 cores. We should be seeing a bump up to 4 cores, as it does need to match its competitors, which is tablets like the Tegra 3, which has 4 cores already, plus an idle core when the tablet isn't being used as much. So the iPad should be seeing a 4-core processor bump, which would be the A6 chip that Apple's rumored to be working on. This should improve gaming as well as any graphics that are running, as well as multitasking on the iPad 3. Now the last and final rumor we want to close out with is Siri. Now yes, there will be Siri on the iPad 3, as a lot of people have speculated there will be Siri. The reason I say there will be for sure is because they have no reason to leave it out, as it was such a big release and such a big hit for the iPhone 4S and such a big selling point. A lot of people upgraded from the iPhone 4 to the 4S just because of Siri alone, so there will definitely be Siri support on the iPad 3, as there will be no problem running Siri because of the processor upgrade, as well as improved specs all around on the iPad 3, including the mic upgrade, which should definitely help out with Siri, and hopefully will help with a little bit of voice recognition. If you like this video, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up, favorite the video. In addition to that, go ahead and check out our full channel, that's youtube.com/technology. If you're interested in just iPad 3 content, go ahead and subscribe to the iPad 3 show where you're currently watching this video. If you want to be constantly updated about any new iPad 3 rumors, roundups, whatever you want to be updated on, all iPad 3 stuff will be covered here, as well as a full review of the iPad 3 as soon as it's released. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, peace. This video is part of the Way Movement, a career path in video sponsored by TGN. To learn more, visit tgn.tv.